Sweet. Hey, Claudia, how are you?
I'm very good. And yourself, Smitty?
I'm very good. Thank you. So, Claudia, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. It really means a lot. And this is really an initiative that I think helps your friends and family, your world really understand you better, as well as I feel like anyone who looks at an interview and hears it learns something from it. So, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Claudia, to start it off, my first question to you is tell us who you are.
Claudia. Claudia is, I would say that I'm a person that's really about life and about positivity, about love. I'm a passionate person. I love to be happy and I love to make people happy. So I'm a really big social person. People fuel me. I get creative with people. I get inspired by people. I thrive with people. So I would say that I'm somebody that loves to create connections and somebody that really wants to bring us positive all around me in everything that I do, either on a personal level or on a professional level. On another side, I'm also a mother. So I would say that I am a giver. I have three beautiful children and I have a beautiful husband, handsome husband, I would say. So, all these things make me who I am and better every day.
That's amazing. And I totally see all of those things. This is exactly why here we are and I'm interviewing you because all of those aspects come out so clearly every time I've interacted with you, Claudia. So if you were to make a life journey map, and I teach classes on the side where I get people to do this who feel stuck in their lives, not that I'm saying you are, but if you were to make a life journey map, what would that look like? And what would you like to share with the audience today?
Life journey map. So I would say if I have to go in big chunks, I had a very inspiring free youth. So my first years, I can remember just playing outside for hours at a time and just feeling so free and safe. Even
Yeah.
though my parents didn't have much, we came from small beginnings, living in uh, small house, small setting, and little means, but a lot of love. So
Yeah.
I would say my first years, I felt loved, I felt safe, and I felt like I can make my own decisions. The second part of my life was maybe where I started taking a little bit more, standing my ground, making
Yeah.
decisions maybe away from what my parents maybe wanted for me. So they might have wanted me to be an architect, the usual. But I was like, no, I really want to go into like design or something, which was completely out of what they thought of. So it's a little bit more empowered, I would say, a little bit more bold, a little bit more adventurous to do things that don't necessarily fit the mold that they had for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. I think, from let's say 16 to 25, while still figuring out who I was. I want to say that maybe late 20s to 30s, I thought I knew who I was. So I was feeling maybe a little bit emboldened,
Yeah.
a little cute, a little, I felt myself a bit. I was single and I lived on my own as well. So this was maybe my fire time. I felt like I was out, I was
Mm-hmm.
about, I was mingling, I was in all the events, I had a great job. So I felt very emboldened, I want to say in my late 20s and 30s, just loving growing up and owning that. And then the next journey, I would say that it was a kind of a halt, I guess, in my 30s. Although I loved, getting older and getting greater at work and meeting new people and traveling, I think I felt like something was missing in my life. I felt a little bit um, somehow alone, but also questioning a lot of questions
Yeah.
about okay, this is great, but what really matters? Like, and kind of like a whole life questioning period in my 30s, vision board period and all of those things
Yes.
happening. Midlife crisis, I want to say, but maybe in my 30s, right? Re-questioning all the things that I had done and what do I really, really want in life and whatnot. And now this chapter, I want to say, now that I'm in my 40s, that I've, had a late, I guess a late family, starting, my first child at 39. I want to say that it's a chapter of love, but it's also maybe a chapter of self-love, of self-grace, of challenge, of support, of still questioning. I think I'm okay with not having all the answers. I'm still figuring things out, but trying to find us a place, like an anchor, a place that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to have the answer, to be at peace, to be calm, to be more grounded. So it's a big chapter of love for my kids, love for my family, and self-love, self-grace, self-care. So it's a softer season, I want to say, as part of my journey as we continue to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. My goodness, there's just so much. I feel like a million questions popped up in my head as you were saying all of those things. I love that love is such a big part of your life, and we have a whole question dedicated to that. So I can't wait to hear what you said. Self-grace. Now that is a word that we could all frame and put up right in front of us as we work through our day or take care of our families. I absolutely love that, Claudia. So it sounds like you're someone, and a lot of, I would say, women and men who are sort of in their younger years could benefit so much from hearing this about you and from you. It feels like you had a sense of just knowing, trusting, and also maybe you came from a family where you were heard, because you did say that what you wanted to do was different from what maybe was presented to you, but you had the stage and the space to say, I'm going to tell you what I'd like to do, and you were listened to. And I think that sometimes becomes so important as we raise kids, but also knowing that perhaps I wasn't heard when I was a young person, and that's why I have some of these feelings, or perhaps I was heard, and that's why I feel empowered. So I love how you put that out there. I'm going to ask you this. So, and I think this is a question that I am dying to hear the answer. Just knowing who you are, what are you extremely passionate about right now? And I put the right now in there is because I know people like ourselves and others, we have so many different passions, but they also do change. So tell me, what is it that today you wake up and you say, I am so excited to do this today. I'm so passionate about it.
Wow, that's a good one. Because passionate is not necessarily always what should take most of your time.
Yeah.
So I am very passionate about getting better.
Okay.
I am passionate about improving. I think that's what I'm passionate about right now. Because I see that time is valuable and that I can do things better, not more, just do things better, which will actually make my life better and maybe the life of people around me better. So I'm trying to find small ways to simplify, but to improve at the same time. So that's something that I'm really looking for ways for me to just get better, but in a smart way. So it's almost like I want to get smarter at life, right? How can I be smarter at this? How can I spend more time but get the same amount done? How can I, not get so mad at the kids? Like how can I improve that?
Yeah.
How can I improve my temper? How can I be in a better space? How can I be more patient? How can I be, more fit? How can I take more care of myself? How can I indulge but still in a healthy way? Like, so I'm just in the space of finding those small ways to improve for just an overall better life. I'm also very passionate about other things like art and, jewelry. I love jewelry. I love, I love nature right now. I've moved to the nature, so I'm really loving exploring that. But I think that the commitment and the passion is in this kind of continuous improvement right now, because I see in the long term the effects of not taking the time to address certain small things that kind of, along the line, they kind of derail or they don't help you. You still go ahead of life and, things are going good, but things may be simpler, less stressful, easier
Yes.
if I can just, navigate a few things in a better way. So this is where I am right now.
Love it. And it almost sounds like, as you were describing your life journey, you said you are now in a place in your life where it's, can't remember the exact words you used, but it's almost sort of simpler, calmer, quieter. But this is the self-reflection that you're doing. And that's where self-improvement comes from, or making things better comes from. So it's almost a reflective part of your life that's asking you, is this working? And if it's not, how can I tweak it or change it to make it better for myself and for those around me? Claudia, what is your favorite memory and why?
Wow. My favorite memory. I have so many good memories, but my favorite one, that's a good question. Right now, I would say that, and it's the one that comes to mind, but I don't know if it's my favorite. But I think my favorite memories involve me being probably alone, but having like a cathartic moment of connection, either on a trip somewhere in the middle, like in the front of the ocean, feeling so small, but at the same time, feeling so grounded. So some of my good memories are super high energy, people, but because that's what I thrive on all the time, I think my favorite moments are when I was able to fully anchor myself for a few seconds and just, really take in what's around me and almost like talk to nature or talk to, the universe. That moment for me was important and memorable, I want to say, because there's not a lot of those, but they're so important in that sense of freedom, just feeling relaxed, feeling empty. That for me has been the moments that are more memorable for me. And I've had a lot of high energy, fun, exciting moments, but yeah.
Is there any one particular one? Like, you remember standing in this particular woods, talking to the trees, which I do a lot, and people think I'm crazy, but that's okay. I really don't mind. Or was it like, being in front of an ocean saying, wow? Was there any particular one that specifically stands out for you?
Yeah, I remember being in Costa Rica. I went on vacation in Costa Rica, and I was, I think, in the north. And I mean, the ocean is crazy there. It's really a lot of waves. I don't surf, so, and I was alone for a few minutes. I had trip colleagues, but for that moment, I was alone. And first of all, it's very scary. I'm always scared in front of a large body of water. I would never be on a cruise. But it's almost drawing you in, the energy and the power of it. And then you see how a lot of things are meaningless and what's really life is about in a way, right? And it's a question where I'll go into like more of talking to God, talking to life, talking to the universe, and just, really just taking it in and asking myself questions and just trying to get back to the root of things before I head back off into the craziness, right?
Yeah.
So this was one moment that for me was like, okay, yeah, I remember this. I know this. This is us. Like, this is inside of me. Like, we're connected. Like, that moment for me was big. I remember specifically that one. And there's been other small ones. It could be even here. Like, I live in the forest now. So it happens sometimes here as well. But definitely.
That's awesome. And you know what? I'm very drawn to the ocean. I'm a water sign. And I hear exactly what you're saying about the power of the ocean, where even though I'm drawn to it, I'm always a little afraid. I grew up by an ocean. I'd love to live by one, but I hear exactly what you're saying is that feeling of the vastness and your insignificance, and just every problem that you made big now becomes really just nothing. It becomes one of those grains of sand that you're standing on.
Exactly.
Claudia, if you could meet your 15-year-old self today, what would you do with her? What would you say to her?
15-year-old self.
We could give or take a few years if you'd like.
But I realized that I was insecure at 15 now. I didn't know back then. I know that I was insecure now, all through my teens, all through my 20s a lot. And I can see the residues of that. in my life, and I can see, oh, this is insecurity. Like it comes from my childhood. I would tell her that she's so powerful and that she has an ability to impact people that is unique and beautiful.
Yeah.
And that she just needs to trust herself.
Yeah.
And she needs to challenge herself more. Because even though some things come easy, you still need to challenge yourself to learn something new or to do something else on top of what's coming to you in a way.
Yeah.
So to trust yourself, to challenge yourself, and to use her gift.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Right? Because as you said, 15, and the reason I chose 15 is for myself and for many, that is sort of that age where you've kind of, you're not identifying so much with the caregivers that you're around. You're finding your own identity. You still haven't filled your shoes. Your clothes fit you awkward. What do you do with all that? And then you're still trying to, I was a big people pleaser, so I'm still trying to, play the part for everyone around me.
Exactly.
Even though it's not resonating with my insides, and what am I doing with that piece? So I love what you've just said. It very much the answer of a strong woman. So so thanks for that. Claudja, and you've touched on this a little bit, but I want you to elaborate. What is your purpose in this life?
I ask myself that question all the time.
And we should, as rightfully.
I think my purpose in life, and I think probably everybody's purpose in life, is to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And to continue to challenge myself to kind of lead with light and love. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of darkness. It's always going to be. But I believe in the power of a people, right? Our energy is strong, and if the love is strong, if the light is strong, and it's not doesn't need to be like naive about it. It's really to go from a place of light and love, and to try to be the best of myself of all, and learn who I am continuously, because you don't stop learning who you are at your 40s. And to really just own into my gifts, but also my talents. And I think if I get to a space where I've said, wow, I've really become everything that I was meant to become, that's my purpose in life. Because by default, by doing that, I believe I will create the impact that was meant to happen around me. I will hopefully, also bring about, change around me, and love, and everybody else will benefit from it. So, and I will, if everybody does that, we change the world, right? So I think that's where I am with my purpose in life. It's really goes back to what I do for myself in a way. It sounds selfish, but it's not. It's very.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that, because how many people do I have? I teach a class on creating your self-care toolbox. And oftentimes it's women more than men who turn around and say, but that's selfish. That's so selfish. Like, if my purpose is to be the caregiver, and if I'm going to focus on me, who's going to take care of them? And I always say, when you're in an airplane and they tell you put on your own mask first before you put on someone else, this is kind of the same idea. So I love what you've just said, is sort of improving your own inner ripple before you let it spread out, which allows others to improve.
And part of that is shifting, right? From I'm not fully there, but part of that is shifting from the mindset of the caregiver, continuous caregiver. So there's periods where, of course, the baby's just born and then you're full on.
Yeah.
But finding ways to pull away sometimes. That's the thing. It's because I'm a giver. I'm a people pleaser. Let's just assess that. That's the truth. Yeah. But knowing that, okay, I've done enough. Yeah. Now I need to go back to me. I need to plug in an hour. I need to do this for me. I need to make sure that I go back to me. That for me is the journey, continuous. Yeah. And the purpose as well.
Well, yeah, and exactly. It's like being the caregiver, we understand best. I always say my little Smriti needs caring. And so I go in and take care of her because she's reaching out and yanking on my skirt saying,
Yeah,
take care of me. You're my mom. Take
exactly.
care of me. Right. So I hear you on that.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to answer this next question because it's pouring out of you, Claudia. How do you define love?
How do I define love? I think for me, love is care. Love is truly allowing somebody to unveil themselves. So just really just being present,
Yeah.
not trying to dictate or tell the person something, just really just allowing space
Yeah.
for everything, for the
Yeah.
good, the bad, the ugly. And it's also love is nurture because some
Yeah.
things will not grow on the first day. You need to water them and you need to nurture them. Love is faith,
Mm-hmm.
faith in the good
Mm-hmm.
ultimately. Um, and love is, if I would add another term, is also just very generous,
Yeah.
very giving. So just it's not a state of mind. It's not a state of being. Like it's not a state of heart. It's like being. For
Yeah.
me, it's really who we ultimately are in a way,
Yeah.
but we haven't necessarily fully embraced or gotten there yet. Because I think we are, in a way, love. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are blocking our energies that are blocking us from being that full love. And inaction is the things that I've mentioned. It's space, it's giving, it's nurturing, it's listening. Um, but it's really a state of just being.
Yeah.
And it should showcase in everything we do, but in different ways.
Yeah.
It's not just romantic. It's really a place where we are in a way.
Yeah. Absolutely. Holding space is so, so important, especially for us who are moms. Sometimes the best, actually, almost always, mine's a little older than yours. She's 15. And the best aspects of our kids are exposed when you just hold space and allow
Yeah,
them to be them,
yeah,
right? I always say I let you drive your own bus and I just hop on to sometimes give you any support that you need, but you're the driver of your own bus. I love the space part. I teach that a lot. I embody it a lot. Is the more space we give ourselves, the more inner space, outer space we create for our atoms to sort of expand and have a lot of space, we allow that to our loved ones. I love that explanation. Um, what would your loved ones say is your best quality and why?
I think they would say that I probably I'm full of energy. I really
Okay.
am. And I think I make people feel sparked, good, energized, ready to go. I'm very sociable. I really thrive with people. I love to
Yeah.
connect. So because I love to connect so much, I believe I know how to make people feel special in a way,
Mm, mm,
feel that they matter, give them, a little bit of a space to be themselves or to ask them who they are, but beyond, what they do or just who they are, right? That full good energy. How are you? Like stopping, conversation, like, how are you? How are you? Your kids, like getting to know the person, right?
yeah.
So I would say that my maybe quality is that connection, um, energetic, connection that I have as a quality and making people feel maybe, that they matter for that moment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Keeping that comfort level open so people can just be who they are. I love that. And it's very obvious, Claudia, even for someone who is a coworker to you. I can, I feel at ease always when I'm around you. So that's fantastic. This is a question that, it often will stump people, but I'm going to ask you, what is your legacy? So what creations are you most proud of that are here now, or you're hoping to have, that you will leave behind when you leave this life form?
My legacy. Wow. Well, I have 3 beautiful children.
There you go.
But I hope that beyond what they remember of me, it's really what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's how I've been able to teach and nurture them so that they are an even better version of love, a better version, a better actor in this world and impacting the world. So my legacy would be how that ripples down generations. Whatever little good that I've wanted to do, how my kids do greater good and on.
Yeah.
So they may not, mention my name, but if the impact is that through my kids or through my surroundings,
Yeah.
there has been a little bit of butterfly effect, or I don't know how they call it now. But through my kids, that's what I would want them to see, that they not only maybe think or believe, but they act in a way that is of good, of love, and ongoing. That would be the best legacy that I could see.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? I mean, how we raise our kids is they are the shapers of the earth, the world, of everything
Exactly.
as they get older.
And they teach us, right? I find like my kids are very small, and when they're small, you can see so much through them. They're so connected, they're so full of life and love. And so, I hope that they keep a part of that. I'm trying to keep a little bit of that because we lose it through everything. But hopefully if they can keep that and continue to channel that and to act through that through their lives, that'll be amazing.
Absolutely. Learn to keep their authentic self, even though the conditioning happens, no matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this answer, I'm very, very excited to hear, because you touched on it a little bit, saying, in your 40s, you're self-reflecting. What is your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self-care practice when the world feels like it's squeezing you, which happens to all of us? What are some of those things that are your go-tos for all 4 of those modalities?
Okay. Physical is easy. We'll do the easy one. I have a motto. I go to the spa every single month. I'm a spa girl. I need to be in a jacuzzi. I need to get a massage. That for me is part of my physical routine. And I can go my own. It could be winter. I need to go get some downtown. So that for me is a kind of a routine that I've created. I don't work out enough, which is an issue, and I want to do more, but I love walking, and I'm trying in my self-improvement to be a little bit more rigorous and committed to doing exercise, because I see the benefits even on, self-care, to do more rigorous exercise, more continuous exercise. On the mental, what I try to do is I realize that, and emotional at the same time, I want to say I don't communicate well when it comes to personal things, as much as I'm a communicator for everything else. But when it comes to what matters to me, how I'm feeling, I don't communicate well. My husband will tell you that all the time. So for me, what I'm trying to do, I do journaling a bit, which helps. I used to write so many journals when I was a kid, and I still have them, which is I read them like a soap opera. But I try to write down. I text a lot, so I get to texting with my husband. I'm like, okay, I need to tell you this, but I feel so hard, so I text him. He's like, why don't you just tell me? But I'm working on communicating for self-care, for mental and physical. For mental, if it comes to stress, so stress comes in sometimes. I've learned with time to retrieve. So sometimes I'm like, okay, it's time for me to disconnect for 3 days. I need a vacation. I need to plug it in. And I've learned to try to prevent that more. But when I see it, I have to, like, that's it. I'm disconnecting. I'm taking a few days off so that it doesn't get too much. But overarching, I would say, is the spiritual one. So I believe in God, overarching God.
Mhm.
And for me, praying is key. Sometimes recently I've been, on an audio Bible sometimes in the car, or listening to gospel music, or trying to find some online, overarching, preaching.
Love it.
But I need to connect, and sometimes I'll pass some days without it, which is what I shouldn't do. And I try to make my kids understand that it's important to get rooted and to believe in greater things. So for me, it helps on every level, because it's also challenging me to be better, to do more. So that connection I have with God, with everything that He has created, with nature, with understanding the power that we have that we don't necessarily leverage, but also everything that's around us that we can feed from, taking that walk in the forest because it's important. And all of these things is what helps on every front, I believe. So this is part of my self-care routine, with a spa, of course, because I love going to the spa.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. On the spiritual level, I'm a big journaler as well. On the spiritual level, I think it's a good reminder that we're not just these flesh bags walking on this, dirt path, and we're born and we become dirt again. I think we are, I always believe we're spiritual beings having this amazing human experience. And for you to say you listen to incorporate praying or listening to audio Bible or gospel music every day, I feel like it's such a great reminder, whatever it is that your denomination is, to keep reminded, I'm a spiritual being. And some of those things, webcasts that people can listen to, podcasts that bring you closer to your spiritual self, are just such a good practice to keep grounded of, it's not just my human that's here to suffer. It's my spirit that's here to relish everything that comes in my human way. So I love that practice, Claudia. And in fact, I'm going to put a little note in my book of doing more of that for myself. I love it.
It's a commitment, right? Because sometimes you don't take the time, you're putting on the radio, and I'm like, oh, let me plug in a few minutes of a podcast. Or sometimes it's just taking the time to look at the sunset. Like it's not, it doesn't have to be so formal, but we're so wrapped up that, and I'll make the kids, and my daughter will tell me, look at the sunset, Mom, it's beautiful. And that taking the time just keeps us connected.
Absolutely. I always say to people that I work with, when was the last time you went out and looked at the moon? Do you know what phase it is in right now? Right? It comes and goes every 14 days. Yeah. It's growing and it's becoming smaller. Like, do you know? And you're so right when you talk about it with your kids. My daughter always laughs because when we drive, I'm like, look, I live in the prairies. The clouds are always doing weird things. I'm like, look at those clouds. They're so beautiful. So she'll just laugh. She's like, Mom, I can't believe clouds make you so excited. And I'm like,
it's so pretty.
Right? They're great shape. Claudia, on to our absolute last question. And I try and ask myself this every single day. And I come up with different answers, which is interesting. If time, money, and responsibilities were not an issue for you, how would you spend your life?
Right now?
Yeah.
If no time, no money, no responsibilities.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're all squared away and taken care of. What would you do?
I would probably move to Africa. I'll figure out which country, and it has to be warm. So, but I would love to go to Africa. It's our bucket list. Me and my husband, bring the kids.
Yeah.
Start growing organic food.
Yeah.
Explore, learn, meet people, help the community.
Amazing.
Just really live.
Yeah.
I would live a real life.
Yeah.
And I would still have probably a house somewhere,
Yeah.
But I would really try to do the good work. Yeah. Eat well, in the most natural, simple way, get back to some of the roots, and really just, help in a community way, and show my kids, how to self-sustain, how to, work with nature, and how to work with the community. That's something that I would do. And I would just bring everybody along, I think. Yeah, I would do something.
I'll come.
Yeah. Something fun, but really meaningful and simple.
Simple. I love that. The word there was simple is, we get so tied to all of our gadgets and schedules and
Oh
just
no.
superfluous stuff that is really just stuff in the end. And when you really boil it all down, like now you have all the money and you're looking for simpler life as opposed to a
Simpler.
more gadget filled life. Yeah.
But I would love to travel the world, right? But I would start from just rooting myself somewhere, and then I would explore. There's so much to see, and I think the best school is meeting people across, countries, cultures, everything. But I would start from a place of just rooting myself, and then just exploding around the world, traveling my entire life.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love to be a world citizen. Claudja, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking this time from your busy schedule, from your little kids, and spending it with me. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to you. So thanks.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Smriti. This was lovely, and it was a great conversation. So thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so here we go. Okay.